Well, I would like to set up a dining room, and I think what we'll do is we'll use one of these rooms here as a dining room. Let's allow them to dig that area. So it is D for designate, and then capital M to toggle the marking. And just avoiding the stairs, highlight that area. We'll allow them to come up to here, and then that whole area there. Oops. We probably need to tell the miners to stop hauling wood again. And whether you're digging or channeling, it gives you the same amount of rock. Oh, we've struck microcline. Microcline is a really pretty blue rock. Alright, so it's about time we set up an internal meeting point for the dwarves and somewhere where they can eat that isn't on the floor. So if we have a look at any of our dwarves at the moment, let's say, well, let's take Jim. We'll V for view, enter for thoughts and preferences, and you'll see that he was annoyed at the lack of chairs. And that's Jim's way of telling us that he really doesn't like eating off the floor. So we dug out this area here to make a dining room. And before we start setting out tables and chairs in here, we want to make it a bit fancy. Making rooms a bit fancy helps to increase the value of the fortress, which will increase the number of migrants who arrive here. So I want to smooth the stone rather than it being rough stone. So this is a chert cavern floor. That's a rough hewn chert wall. We want to make this all a bit fancy. But here we have cassiterite, and I don't want to waste that cassiterite. So what I'm going to do is tell them to mine this out. So we'll get some dwarves down here to mine that. And while that's going on, let's pick some dwarves to use for stone detailing. Well, we know that Potatina has a particular thing for art. So we'll... Hang on a second, that was a Coty. We've got a Coty has stolen something. How many Coties do we have on the map? We don't have any. So we must have just had one. Let's have a look at that. So A for announcements. Coty has stolen a rough green jade. Right, that must have been up on the surface. We need to keep an eye out for Coties. I'm not too worried about them stealing the stones that we have lying around the surface. We'll get plenty more gems, but as soon as they've run away with one thing, they'll come back. The more they steal, the more interested they are. So yeah, we need to keep an eye on that. But yes, where were we? We'll allow... We need to pick some people for stone detailing, and the more we pick, the faster it will be. But we do also want people to be focused on the other jobs. Now, Potatina is currently hauling. Yeah, maybe we'll just leave it with the one person. So what we want here is D for designation and S for smooth stone. And we want to get them to smooth all of the area that they can get to. So they can't get to these corners, I don't think. We'll mark them up, maybe they can. We'll get them to smooth all of that area there. We'll do this back wall once they've dug out that area. Now, what I want to do here is to put a wall back in that place, in that space there. Later on we can always go round the back and continue mining out that cassiterite. Now the reason for digging out that cassiterite is that if we smooth a wall that is made of gems or ores, then we can't ever get those gems or ores back. So by digging it out, we've been able to claim the valuable materials, and what we'll do is we'll build a wall in the space where this cassiterite used to be. Now to build a wall, we can do that just using the stones that are lying around the place here, or we can get them to make it out of stone blocks. Now as this stone down here is so close, I'm just going to use this chert here. So to build a wall, it is B for build, and then it's Shift C for construction, and that is wall, floor, stairs or track. Shift C. W for wall, and I'm going to select B for box select. We'll start there, we'll go to there, and yes, we'll have chert. I can press enter to select one block, we need 3, or I can press shift enter to do all 3 out of chert. We'll probably look at wall building in more detail later, but to make sure that somebody will build that wall, we just need to make sure that somebody has construction enabled, and there's plenty of people who do. So they will get round to building that wall. In fact, someone's already doing it. So now that's done, we can say that the rest of this wall here can be smoothed. Now let's see what Potato is up to. Potatina, what you doing? You are busy storing items. I think I would rather you didn't, just for the moment. Come down and prioritise getting the dining room looking nice. Meanwhile, we need to build some tables and chairs. So let's go back to the mason. Mason is up on the surface in here. Now the mason is currently a bit busy making hatch covers and doors, but we'll add another task and we'll say build me a rock table. That's T. Now if I want to make it out of a particular rock, I can tell them to. So let's have a look at what rock we've got available. We do that with D. At the moment, the only rock we can make anything out of is chert, so we'll just say chert. I'm going to put it on repeat. Alt W for workflow. Shift A to add limit, and then enter table of any chert. And do we really want 10 tables? Probably not. So Shift R to change the range, and I'm going to say 2 to 4 for the moment. We might increase that later. Escape out, and then I'm going to A for add new task, C for a rock thrown, D for details, enter for chert, R to repeat, Alt W for workflows, Shift A for adding limits, and enter a chair of chert, Shift R for range, and 2 to 4. And now we can see that Potatina is slowly starting to smooth the walls and the floors of our new dining room. This goes really quickly if you have a lot of dwarves doing it, but it's quite slow when it's just one. That will keep Potatina very busy for quite a long time. But I like to do it before I put any furniture or doors in place, because sorry about the noise, my miners are busy channeling out the trench. Yeah, I like to do all of the smoothing and engraving before we put any furniture down or any doors in place, because they won't smooth or engrave underneath doors. And certain furniture they won't be able to smooth or engrave underneath either. Having a smoothed and engraved room greatly increases the value of that room. And once this is done, even if we only have one table and chair in there, our dwarves are going to be really proud of their dining room, and it'll give them happy thoughts. And because this is increasing the value of the fortress, it'll also increase the number of migrants that we get in the next wave. Now that could be a good thing or a bad thing, because a huge influx of migrants all at once means that we'll probably find ourselves short of beds and things, but I think we can manage that. I think what I'll do to speed Potatina up a little bit is I am going to remove the designation to there. I'll just let her do this bit of the room that she's working on at the moment. Okay, now we can go to D for designate and E for engrave. And we'll say engrave all of that stuff that you've just smoothed. Now she can't engrave the wall that we've built. You can only engrave smooth natural rock. Now I think that Potato has, yes, Potato has finished engraving this room. So if we have a look at this, we can see at some of the things that he has drawn. Here is engraved a Potatina rendition of the fenced page, a superiorly designed image of a traction bench. The imble is the symbol of the Abbey of Catchers. Very good. If we pick another random spot, let's have a look at that one. It's an image of a dwarf. Now if we have a look around here, you can see that the quality of the detailing varies. See if he's done anything else particularly good. What about that one? This is a well-designed image of the possibilities of hardness, I say. The brass-bound codex. Okay, so Potato has done some nice engravings. Nothing especially wonderful there, but some good stuff. So what we can do now is get a table and a chair in here. So let's build a table. We'll put it in the middle of the floor. Why not? Now I do want it one away from the wall. So we'll put a table there and then we'll build, let's see, C for chair. We'll put a chair next to it. Maybe we shall put down, let's put down another couple. So we'll have a chair there and a table there. That's a container. A table. T for table. Right, once they're built, we can designate this as a meeting hall and our dining room. Okay, and we can also get some more of this room smoothed out now. Alright, so we have a chair and a table brought down here. So what we can do now is to say that this is a dining room. And using the plus and minus keys, we can increase the size of this dining room. Now, I'm just going to take it to there for the moment. We'll wait until the area underneath the door has been smoothed and engraved, and we'll put some doors in. And then we'll increase it to the full size of the room. But yes, we've done for the moment. And now we can say H. That is a meeting hall. Now that we have a meeting hall, we can go up to the surface. And we can remove the wagon. We've had to leave that wagon in place until we had a meeting point. Otherwise, the outpost liaison wouldn't have had anywhere to come to meet us, and the migrant dwarfs wouldn't have had anywhere to come. They'd have just hung around on the edge of the map. And that's the outpost liaison to the left of my cursor. The outpost liaison arrives with the dwarven trader. We'll talk about them in a later video. Alright, let's let them get on with that. There we go. So that is no longer somewhere where the dwarves are going to hang around. Now we should be moving the cats really. So we want some cats in the food stockpile area. Pen pasture. And we'll bring our breeding cats there. And then we want some more cats in the farm area. And we'll bring in the kittens. Ah, we've got a pet cat. We'll bring in the pet cat. And the kittens. I think what we'll do with those bottom 3 kittens, we'll move them down to the dining room. Because I would like to put some food down here. Let's search for kitten. Oh, that will help with making sure that we don't have any vermin down here. And that is ready to engrave. Okay, let's place down some more tables and chairs. Turn this into a complete dining room. The dwarves don't like to share tables, so you need to place 1 table per chair. I like to lay them out in rows, but this is just an aesthetic preference. It doesn't actually make a difference. Right, let's put in a food stockpile. I think we'll have drinks over here. From here to here. And I want to get that stockpile collecting from the kitchen stockpile upstairs. Got to use the cursor for this one. Can't use mouse controls. Just move the cursor over to the stockpile we want to take from. There we go. And click on it, change settings. And food, we want to block all of the things. That's B for block. And then we'll just arrow key down and we'll put all of the drinks there. So there's a drink stockpile for us. Now I think up here we'll have a goblet stockpile as well, so I'll put that in there. I've used animals so that it's 0 barrels, but let's disable animals and then enable finished goods. And we want to block the types and then go down to goblets and enable goblets. And then with that we want to tell it to collect from our finished goods stockpile up here. Okay, and the dwarf should go and fill those 2 stockpiles. Now I've recently learnt that engravings are directional. They only count towards the room from the side of the wall that they were carved on. So wherever the dwarf was stood at the time that they carved the engravings determines which room those engravings are going to add the value to. I'll take this into account in future fortress designs, and I'll have more walls that are 2 tiles thick so that they can have engravings on each side of the wall. But for the moment, we'll do the best as we can. Right, now it would be most convenient, I think, if we could instruct the dwarves to bring down some food, but we don't want them to bring down just any old food, because if they bring down something like some barrels of meat or maybe some barrels of plants, it could be that our kitchen actually wants to use those raw ingredients to cook stuff with. So what we could do is just make sure that they only bring down food which is already cooked. Now it's not intuitive, but it's very easy to do. So what we're going to do is set up a food stockpile. So P for stockpile, F for food, and let's see, we'll put it down here. and then click escape and click back into it. We'll change the settings, go to food, and then what we're going to do is arrow over. We're going to block all, that's B, and then we're going to make sure that prepared food is still allowed. So that's U for prepared food. So it doesn't matter which thing you hover over when you press U. As you can see, prepared food there is still highlighted. So it doesn't matter what it's made out of, prepared food will be allowed. It's a bit unintuitive because this isn't how you would ordinarily do something. Now, the dwarves will only use this stockpile as an overflow at the moment. So we're going to need to tell them to go and take it from the stockpile near the kitchen. So we'll say take from stockpile, and we'll go upstairs. You have to use the cursor for this, there's no other way to do it. And we'll go hover over this stockpile somewhere and we'll say there. Okay, so the dwarfs now will bring down any barrels of roasts that we have and put them in that stockpile there. Now, some dwarves may still choose to eat raw plants. It doesn't force the dwarves to eat the nice stuff, but it does at least make sure that there is good food close to the tables. Right, well, that's it on dining rooms. If there's anything I've missed, please do let me know in the comments. If you have any designs yourself that you find work particularly well, let me know. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all of your positive feedback so far. Bye for now.